Medicine Path. And tonight we have Angel Tweed with us with Om Jungle Medicine Retreats out of Costa Rica. I met Angel a few months ago, or actually my wife did. And, we just reconnected a few weeks ago and great, amazing person. She's doing really good work out there and, she's really on this path. And, let's talk a little bit about what her story is and what got her on this path. And let's hear a little bit from you, Angel.
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm honored to be here and share a little bit of my story with you. So I've been on this path for a few years now, and had a beautiful healing in the medicine, and from that point, I got the calling to come to Costa Rica and share my healing and learn more and gain wisdom from these beautiful plants. So here I am, just doing that.
Here you are. So tell us a little bit. What brought you to the medicine? What finally cracked that fear?
Yeah, I talk about that. I actually posted about that on my page, to be grateful for that one thing that cracked you open that was so
Mhm.
hard.
Right.
And for me, it was multiple sclerosis. It brought me to my knees and put me in a place that I didn't feel like was mine. I didn't feel like was my purpose. And I continually got sicker and sicker. And I at one time had stem cells, and it gave me a little bit of alleviation. Um, but when I found the medicine and I went to the medicine, it cured me. I was legally blind in my left eye. I was still using canes. I was in extreme pain all the time. I had many brain lesions and spinal lesions. And I came back from that trip cured. I have zero symptoms that I've ever had MS, and my neurology team was dumbfounded.
Hmm.
And I think the Western term for it was like spontaneous remission. And
Yeah.
anybody who knows anything about multiple sclerosis knows that it's a progressive disease, and that doesn't happen. So with going home after being in wheelchair and being paralyzed and having nursing care, and coming home, seeing moving without pain, and being able to run with my daughter and do all of the things I hadn't been able to do in many years, um, I said, we got to move to Costa Rica so I can be closer to this beautiful medicine. And my husband said, let's go. So
Yeah.
it was pretty easy. So
Yeah.
that's how I ended up here, in Costa Rica, just knowing that there was a plan for me. And I
Right.
didn't really know what that was
Hmm.
at that time. Um, but I did know that I just needed to focus on my why and let the universe figure out the how.
There
And,
you
uh,
go.
and it worked out.
What a beautiful story. And was it only one time with the ayahuasca, or was it a progress where you felt that heat?
It was 4 nights back to back,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it was I think after the second ceremony, I believe my headaches had stopped, which was an ongoing issue. Before I came to the medicine, I was on fentanyl patches at one time. I was on hydromorph. I was on nerve blockers. I was on a lot of medication that I had to come off to come to the medicine. And I didn't ever think my life would involve being off of opioids
Hmm.
and being comfortable and not having to be in pain every day. So um, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's truly a gift to be here. And I knew that there was a reason that happened to me, and I knew that when something that big happens to you, you need to share it, and
Yes.
you need to continue on that path to explore the mystery of our beautiful universe. So
Yeah. This medicine is a miracle, and
mm,
I have to bring up something else about you. You know a lot about medicines because you are a nurse, and
yeah.
it's
So I was in Western medicine, Western healthcare for 12 years. And I left that when my daughter was just before I got pregnant with my daughter. It
Mhm.
wasn't serving me any longer. I actually walked out of the off my job because of practices that didn't align with me, didn't flow with my integrity. Um, and so when I ended up getting sick with MS, it was very aggressive, and I became paralyzed within 3 months. And we had our whole house renovated and 24-hour nursing care. And at one point, the doctors and nurses and my occupational therapist asked my husband to put me in a home. And so there was definitely some dark times, but because of my medical background, I was in full trust of the Western medical system. So I did all this chemo, which didn't work, and I
Mhm.
had IVIG. I just kept putting all these toxins into my body, thinking that something was going to help, and it just kept lowering my immune system, causing me to be put on life support several times. And it was a really dark time. And I had this polarity because this other side of me was a meditator and was very spiritual, but I was holding on to the hope of Western medicine. And I think sometimes in these chronic cases of illness, and especially autoimmune, where there is no etiology, they don't know why or how these diseases are happening. It was time to take matters into my own hand and trust my intuition. And I knew there was something out there that was going to work at that time. I just didn't know what it was. And I had no idea it would involve psychedelics, let me tell you.
Right. Or all plant medicines. All plant medicines have this healing
Yeah.
effect. And look at you now. Look at how amazing this is. And just and where did it go from there? What happened now after this? You went down to Costa Rica. You went down there with your family and your husband. And then what have you created
So
going from there?
we came to Costa Rica, but my husband, we were too young to retire, so he had to continue working in Canada.
Mhm.
So it was primarily my daughter and me here. And of course, things just shifted. I ran into people that were in the medicine path, and I boldly just went up to strangers and I was like, "Do you drink medicine?" I noticed their bracelet. It's like,
Yeah, I got you. Right.
and so I started getting connected, and before you know it, I was asked if I wanted to hold space in my home for these tribes, and I was just like, oh my gosh, yes. So I started holding very small ceremonies in my living room, for like 6 to 10 people, and was just waiting for a door to present itself, and just kept living in faith. And as it happened, it did. And
Hmm.
a door opened, and somebody came in and was a beautiful soul, and we bought land and started to build. And since that time, she has moved on to new adventures, and Ohm is growing. And Ohm is a really so when I got the vision, as things progressed and I drank more medicine, the visions were coming of the kind of place that Ohm was going to be. And I always knew that Ohm was going to be a place that would build bridges to new communities, to communities that were local, communities that were far, and that it was a place that you could come to find your medicine, even if that medicine was sound or making drums or meditation,
Right.
but a place that you could come and feel at home, in a safe space. And that's what I've been doing. I'm building relationships with tribes that haven't left their countries. The Yawanawa tribe is very
Right.
dear to my heart, and I've been working with them for a long time, trying to coax them to come to Costa Rica, and they did in January last year or this year, and it was really amazing. And they just landed back in Costa Rica, and they're here with us for another 3 months. So we're so blessed. And I've been building relationships with the Kofan tribe in Ecuador and having them, and the Siona tribe in Colombia. And it's been really fun. And I just met a medicine woman in Peru who will be coming to serve Wachuma. So it's been really fun, learning new cultures. And I got to travel to Colombia, and yeah, it's just been amazing. and
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 this isn't
saying that, it has been messy, hard,
right.
frustrating,
Yes.
beautiful,
It's
everything we expect from this human experience, which is
Mhm.
amazing, right?
It's definitely a journey. And you've been on this journey for a little bit now. I mean, I think about 10 years or so you've experienced the
So
medicine.
with ayahuasca, it's been 4
Mhm.
years.
Sure,
um,
okay.
4 years. Before that, we were working with some other plants,
Hmm.
and I started studying meditation when I was a young child. My dad lived in India, so I was forced into TM meditation when I was 11.
Right.
So from that point, I got my Reiki certificates, and I have a shadow work practitioner, and I did all of the things thinking that I'm going to be this healer, I'm going to be this healer. And I kept getting a new certificate thinking, oh, this one's it. Like, I think I'm here to be a healer. And then one night in the medicine, Spirit said to me, "You're not a healer." And I was so
Yeah.
upset. I'm like, what? What do you
Yeah.
mean? What do you mean I'm not a healer?
Right.
That's what I quit.
Yeah. We all get these messages on the medicine, and I
Mhm.
think when most of us come out this medicine the first time, we all want to be these healers. And I think
Right?
that's
Yeah.
just
I really thought it was it. I took some energy classes, and then the
yeah,
medicine said, no, like you're here to connect people. And I
yeah.
thought, well, that's a real bummer. Like,
Mhm,
what's that,
mhm.
And then I realized, how important that was in connecting people to tribes and people to new people, and what an amazing gift that was. And it was only my ego standing in the way because I thought being a healer was better, and it's truly not. And we're all here with our unique gifts, and mine happens to be connection, and I'm really happy with that now, and I'm
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, mine happens to be connections too. And
it's
you,
awesome.
you you touched on a lot of great things as community. I mean, community is what we need here. I mean, because this medicine is on the forefront now. We all know how beautiful it is and how much healing there is in it. And two important things for me and Michelle at the plant medicine path is community and education. And then the biggest thing for us is integration. So let's talk a little bit about integration and how you work with that at home. Do you do a pre-integration, during, after? How
Yeah.
do you do integration?
So everybody that comes to sit at home has a video call with me. Um, I'd like to say first off, it was very clear to me in the medicine how big OM was going to be and how we didn't want it to grow substantially. So we built our temple, our Maloka, to fit a certain amount of guests and no more. Um, to keep me in check, and I think we all need somebody that kind of keeps us accountable,
Right.
um,
We do.
because I think it's important that when guests come to OM, by the time they walk through our Maloka gate, they know me. I know if they've been married. I know how many kids they have, and we have a relationship, and that is truly important. So we have conversations, and a lot of times I work with people in 3 or 4 or 5 phone calls to really talk and to dive into some of the issues they're trying to work with. Sometimes maybe it's a different medicine, that they're being called to. So I think that process is super important, and it allows you to do that when you keep your numbers under 30. I know everybody that comes in, and it's super, super important. We have two integration coaches at home. One of them has years of experience in the medicine and is a beautiful soul and works in medicine spaces with us. And then the other one is actually a therapist, and she also is a translator for the Yawanawa tribe. They're both very much into the medicine and have really done their work. And they're there through the process. We have 3 integration sessions during our week longs, and then private coaching is available after that if you want to go that route.
What a booming career coming up though, an integration coach, psychedelic integration coach. Mm, think that's going to be well needed, moving on into this medicine community. It's
Uh,
something that's so
yeah,
needed.
I
And
think it is. And I think, honestly, in life, integration is so needed. I mean,
absolutely.
integration from the time your kids go to school, they need to integrate that into their daily life. We need to integrate all the parts of ourselves into our life. And we don't know a lot about integration. And so this has brought up the awareness of what is integration and
Mhm.
how do we learn something and then integrate it into our life. So it really is important on all levels of our life, not just medicine. But I'm so glad this has kind of brought the buzzword into our awareness to learn that we are always integrating. Babies are learning new words and integrating them into their sentences. I mean, we've been doing it since the beginning. And it's beautiful now that the awareness has come up. So we really learn how to integrate things into our life in general, especially with medicine.
Right, because integrating's kind of like, to me, you're integrating. It's you. It's all about you. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
about outside of you, or it's just you. You're trying to transform who you were, and to do that, you have to go inside. It's an internal thing.
You
So,
do. And I like to think of it as, we don't, people aren't changing, but they're remembering.
yeah,
They're really remembering who they were sent here to be on this planet, and remembering the love that we have, and being able to take the experiences and that bliss that we feel after ceremony, and how do we carry that through so that we're not back at the Maloka drinking medicine every weekend with the same intention. How do
right.
we learn? How do we take what we've learned in the medicine? Oh, the medicine showed me my children, and the way I interact with them. Well, then your homework is to become that, to
Right.
learn how to take that and now move it into your life. So it's so important, and community is a huge part of integration.
It
So
is.
Mark, these platforms that you and your partner have are critical for
Yeah.
communities to be able to share and to talk and to have each other as sounding boards as we all go through our process, and to have people holding space for us.
Hmm. And to kind of just add to you and give you kudos there. I mean, what you do too is what we need also, because, right now you can either do the medicine as an experience down in South America, or you can do it as a healing process. There's a
Hmm.
lot of just let's go and experience, and it's kind of getting a little crazy in some
Yeah.
parts. And this is a healing medicine. This is not a party drug.
No,
And
and I a part of me is like, well, that's really unfortunate that that's happening, but I'll tell
yeah,
you, it's I would rather someone just come for the experience, because 90% of the time when they come for an experience, they end up healing and want,
yeah,
realize
that's
like, oh
true
my
too.
gosh, I
Yeah,
came to the
very true.
medicine for physical healing, for nothing
Mhm.
else. My ego told me I was good. I
Right.
just came for physical healing, but from doing that, I realized that I had so much work to do, and that I wanted to do this work now. So I think even people that come for the experience sometimes, most of the time, have an awakening of sorts. And
Mhm.
it might take them a while because they weren't prepared.
Right.
But I think it's beautiful. And I think there's many places that you can go, like you said, for like an experience, a deep healing. You can go to Peru. You can end up at a place that is like a spa. Om is not a spa. I will
Mhm.
tell you. It's very authentic. We are in the jungle. It is beautiful and magical, but it is truly an
And immersion.
experience.
Yeah, full
Mhm,
immersion almost
mhm.
into that
Yeah,
experience. And I think that is a beautiful way to, and that's a beautiful way to see this medicine and enjoy this medicine, is to be in that immersion.
mhm.
That's where it's come from. Let's talk about a little bit some other things you do at your retreats. Do you do anything else besides the ayahuasca? I think you touched
Yeah.
on Yuma.
So we have Wachuma at
Mhm.
Om. We also work with a beautiful medicine man who is from Venezuela, and he serves yopo. And yopo is in a beautiful, beautiful medicine that most people don't know about. And
Right.
it's from Venezuela. It is the yopo tree, and it has a pod. And inside the pod is the medicine, and it gets ground and mixed with other herbs. And it is inhaled, and it is a psychedelic that is very, very powerful and very beautiful, and it's to be experienced for sure.
I
And
bet.
we also work with a beautiful mushroom woman, and medicine man and woman that also serve mushrooms. We also have medicine from Mexico, bufo medicine, and we also do drum birthing workshops and sound healing, and things that don't involve actual plant medicine but are nonetheless medicine. I think the
Right.
medicine, we are the medicine, and sometimes we
Mhm.
just need a little portal to find the medicine within ourselves to heal.
So like breath work. Breath work's an
Yeah,
amazing tool. I mean,
for sure.
meditation's an amazing tool. And most people think they have to sit and meditate and om and be still, but it's not even about that. It's about
No.
just being in peace with yourself, sitting there and just going
Mhm.
inside. I mean,
Becoming the
meditation,
observer. Yeah.
exactly, being the observer. And I think it takes a little bit of time on this path to be that observer. It's just
Yeah.
takes a little bit of time. So let's talk a little bit about mushrooms, because we all like the psilocybin, and
Mhm.
you know that's a medicine that I think the Western world is kind of really starting to get attuned to, and seeing these healing benefits in these medicines. Because I don't want to say nothing wrong here, but I think it's probably one of the only plant medicines you can do while you're on antidepressants. And I don't want to put anything out there to,
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor or whatnot, but I'm pretty sure that is, I can be safe by saying that. And,
Yes.
you can wean
You're correct.
yourself off of these medicines with psilocybin. And, it's an interesting and it's a beautiful medicine, and it's all over the world. And
It's beautiful medicine. The mycelium is a beautiful, it's not a plant, it's not a mammal, it's kind of a hybrid in the middle.
mhm,
Mycelium is the only medicine. I have my own theories, so I'm just a human and know nothing. But in my
right.
mind,
Yeah,
in my
we do.
mind, mushrooms are the only plant medicine that grow throughout the world, and I believe they're like a staple medicine. I believe they really know how to create neurogenesis and to bring our brain into a homeostatic place. I've seen so many people, my husband included, who was able to come off of antidepressants using microdosing, and it's
Hmm.
absolutely powerful. And there are so many studies now at Johns Hopkins. I have a dear doctor friend of mine who is doing a fellowship there right now on using psychedelics and palliative care.
Hmm.
It's amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, these medicines are making headway,
absolutely.
and I believe that in the next 10 years it may replace, I mean, it will become a pharmaceutical. I'm afraid. I think it will. They already have nasal
Absolutely.
sprays and whatever,
Hmm.
but you know,
Yes.
there's no side effects from mushrooms. You take mushrooms for antidepressant, and you
Hmm.
don't have to worry about weaning off of them. You don't have to worry if you don't have any more. You can come and go and just feel how you're feeling, and then
Right.
take it from there. So I think
Hmm.
it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful medicine. I think it's a staple. It is wonderful for creativity, anxiety, not just depression, but mental well-being. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of people take very small microdose just for
Right.
mental well-being. So it's
Hmm.
absolutely wonderful. I'm a advocate for sure.
Yeah, I think most of us in the plant medicine community can definitely see the advantages of microdosing. It's just a beautiful medicine, and there's a lot of people maybe fearful about the medicines, and I think that's where psychedelic integration coaches and therapy coaches come into play here, where
Hmm.
they can guide those people in the proper way to do that. And at the plant medicine path, we do that. We'll guide you with the right people for one-on-one coaching and whatnot with the microdosing. So, you know, for
It's
us, I think that's a staple. Also, I
it's
totally
so
agree.
important. Pages like yours and the work that you're doing, you and your partner have just hands down. And I love when you're on your page that you jump in and answer questions. And you know, it's not just a page for other people to join, but you've made it such a beautiful community. And that takes, I know how much time that takes and how much love you have to have. You really do it for the love of people and medicine, you know. And you know, I so appreciate the both of you, you know, creating this beautiful space along with all of the other things you have going on.
Thank you. We just saw this as such a needed thing in this community. I mean, we see that the benefits, and to hear that from the people in this community about what we're bringing is just amazing to me. Just
Mm,
brings tears to my eyes. So,
that's so beautiful. So beautiful. So needed. I'm so excited to have you and your beautiful wife come join us in Costa Rica at some
I hope
point
so. Hmm.
to sit with the Yawanawa tribe. We're
Yeah,
excited to meet you in person and give you a big squeeze.
yeah, that'll be great. Let's end up here a little bit and talk about your retreat coming up here you have in August. Can we touch on that just a little bit?
Yeah. So is a very humble retreat. We've been growing it for some times, poco by poco,
Hmm.
and now we are just getting turnkey on our dorm rooms, and it's very exciting. So we have our very first week-long retreat coming up from August 6th to 12th. That retreat will offer 3 nights of medicine. It will include kambo, sananga, rapé ceremonies, fire circles, wisdom talks. It's going to be beautiful. We have a pool. We're on 37 acres of organic jungle. We grow all of our own food that we serve, and most of our own food that we serve, and it's really like a home. You know, people come to Om and they continually come back for events, and we try to make it, it's not a commercial space. You're not going to be able to buy a coffee mug with our name on it. You're not going to buy t-shirts, you know, but you are going to come there and you're going to do deep work, and you're going to meet strangers that are going to become family. And that's the most beautiful thing, I think, is, you know, really
That is a
coming.
beautiful thing about drinking the medicine with that
Mm,
group. It's beautiful. I
amazing.
mean, you are connected for life.
Hmm. Yeah. And we're all there, you know, seeking our family and looking for our tribe. So it's a really beautiful opportunity. So we're so excited to be hosting this retreat. It's coming up soon, and our dorms are just completing now, so we don't have a lot of time to promote. So thank you for this little plug.
No
It's
problem. So
awesome.
August 6th through the 12th, correct? Out in Costa Rica.
Yes, yes,
And you can either contact the plantmedicinepath at gmail.com, or we can contact omjunglemedicine.com, correct?
yes.
Perfect. And let's just end up a little bit about these nurses, because you know what? It's really interests me a lot. And since we started this page, we get about 1,000 followers a month. And man, 25% of you guys are nurses. So it tells me a little bit about the Western medicine, how I mean, don't want to say it doesn't work, but there are other options. There's definitely other options out there to explore, and there's nothing to be fearful. I'm going to rephrase that. There is a little bit of fear going to face your ego, but your ego's been there all your life to protect you. So I think that fear is kind of like, you don't want to see that new you. So, I mean, we're out there right now with this medicines right now. And I mean, this is why we have this platform, because look at us. We're normal, everyday people. We're a little broken. You know, this is a healing medicine, and that's what it's for. And, you know, I just can't believe the amount of nurses on our page. It just amazes me. It really does.
I think as nurses, you know, we kind of got into the healing arts. I mean, that's what it's called when you're signing up for your, you know, what are you taking? I'm in the healing arts, you know, and then you get into the nursing field and it's not what you thought it was going to be most of the time, a lot of the time. And I think acute medicine is amazing. You know, you break your leg, you need an operation, you have a heart attack. It's so beautiful, the technology.
Right.
I think it's when it comes to chronic care, we become so reliant and we become fearful of anything that isn't Western medicine. You know, doctor hands you a prescription, you take it and you get it filled, and then you laugh about the amount of side effects. You're like, oh my gosh, look, there's so many side effects that it's so small, I can't even read it. But then your friend gives you a supplement and you become a Google researcher.
So spot on. Correct. You know, isn't that just how our minds are manipulated through the Western world?
We become fearful of anything that isn't Westernized just because we don't know. And it's always fear of the unknown, right?
Absolutely. This whole medicine is the fear of the unknown. I think that's how we come to this medicine, because, you know, we've become so comfortable with our uncomfortability that to step in this space is so scary. But once you go through those first few ceremonies, it becomes so beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, you know, on the other side of fear always lies freedom.
Absolutely.
And just to get through that, knowing the other side of anything hard is always good. And it's just making that leap sometimes can be a little challenging, which is why it's so beautiful to have community around, right?
Yes. And community is so important, like we touched on so many times. And you know what? It was great having you tonight. I mean, you are a beautiful soul. We will continue to be friends. Thank you for coming on tonight. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you for having me. Thank you for the beautiful work that you guys are doing. It means so much to all of us in the community. And we look forward to seeing you guys very soon.
Much love, Angel.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.